guess.
I think
We're
so.
ready.
You're
Yes.
rolling. You're rolling.
Delaware Rock and Roll Society wants to welcome you to Guitarville. We are at the home of Rick Griffin, which is filled with guitars. Even the decorations as you go into the bathroom. Okay, it really is Guitarville. When I pulled up out front, there's a guitar in front of the, in front of the house. So, yeah, we know what Rick's into. He's definitely into guitars. Rick, were you born in Delaware?
I was not born in Delaware, no.
Where did you come from?
I was born in Chester, Pennsylvania.
Oh, very good friends there.
Yeah.
Very good connections there, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, where did you go to high school?
I went to high school. I spent 1 year at William Penn, and then I went from there to Del Castle Technical High School for automotive repair.
Okay, which is something you do on that side in
Yes.
your free time.
My free time.
Yeah, 2 to 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Yes, goodness, and a lot of people depend on you for that, so that's pretty cool. So, was it exclusively country music in your household, or was it rock and roll?
No, it wasn't. It was early on. It was rock and roll. I had, some older siblings that were into, the heavier rock and roll, classic rock of the '70s. We used to get a lot of that, and my father started out playing country music, but then he did pick up a gig with Bill Haley in the early '50s and played with him for a while.
Nice,
And I
that's
think at
bragging
that
right.
time,
That's bragging rights.
Yeah, I think at that time they did play mostly country.
Mm-hmm.
That was before they got into the band. Was actually called the Saddlemen
Okay,
and not the Comets.
okay, and what was your dad's name?
His name was Jim Griffin.
Jim, okay, all right, super. So, it all started before you, this, history of music, this, music being a part of.
This guitar, I'm going to take the strap off of it, was a guitar that my father built by hand. It took him 3 years
Wow.
to build the guitar. I mean, he didn't work on it constantly in those 3 years. He just worked on it for a while and came back to it, and then went back and probably earned some money to feed the family, and then went back and worked on it a little bit more. But,
Amazing.
And he passed 8 years ago and left this to me. And
Precious, precious things.
yes, and he actually built that guitar stand,
Oh,
and-
wow.
and he made the strap. And as you can see, the
The Christian.
cross on there, the Christian cross. He was very much into gospel music.
Oh.
Later in life.
Okay. Okay, super. Well, it was country.
It was.
No, no way around that. Okay, so when did you first, what's the earliest you remember your dad playing, you playing?
The first time I went out and played with my father, I believe I was about 13 years old,
Oh, all right.
and actually performing in his band. Before that, they would have band practice at our house all the time. He had all his
Yeah.
band members come over to the living room, and I would just grab an old guitar and sit there, and whether it was plugged in, electric guitar or not, I just sat there and played along with them. And I picked up a lot of my early guitar lessons from those practice sessions at the house, because the other members of the band would stop and take a break, and one in particular would stop and show me, okay, well, this is what I'm doing here, and show me some of the runs and things that he was playing.
Neat.
And I
At
learned a
13.
lot that way. Yeah. Actually, that started when I was about 8 years old.
Okay.
Going out and actually performing with them, I was 13 the first time.
Oh, man. Do you remember where it was?
A place called the Brown Fox in Dover, Delaware was the first place that I played. It was an old military airplane hangar that they converted into a nightclub.
Neat.
And that was the first place that I played out.
So 13 at the nightclub.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes, attracting the girls already at 13.
I'm not too sure about that.
I imagine you were.
I was pretty shy. At that time, I wasn't doing any singing at all. I was
Okay.
just playing the guitar with them.
Just playing the music. Yes, that's really neat. So how much longer did your dad play beyond that?
My father passed away on July 27th in 2014. My father's last gig was July 24th, 2014. 3 days before he passed away, he was still
Goodness.
playing.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. And you said there were other family members older than you?
Yes,
Did they play?
My brother played. He played back in high school. Played in a high school band called the Vibrations. They were pretty big in the Newcastle area at the time, but he didn't stick with it. He just played for fun.
Gotcha.
And that was pretty much it. My sister sang a little bit, with the band, but there were 6 of us all together, and I was the only one who picked up the music curse.
The music curse. I love it. But look what it's given you as far as decorating ideas.
Wouldn't change it for anything.
I totally get that. When it's in your heart, it's in your heart.
Yes.
Yeah. So, as you moved along from the age of 14, what were the bands that you were a part of?
Well, I played in my father's band quite a bit, for a lot of years. We actually had, like I said, I think I was about 15 years old at the time. We actually had a 4-night-a-week gig over in New Jersey. I believe it was in like Pennsville or Pennsgrove area on the river.
Okay.
President Truman's yacht was docked there, and this company bought the yacht and turned it into a nightclub.
Okay.
And we played on that for 4 nights a week for about 3 years straight.
Wow. Very cool. Do you remember seeing anybody important? Or maybe you weren't old enough to be impressed.
No, I really didn't at the time notice. I did see a few bar fights and a couple people go overboard
Oh boy.
into the river, but
Go Bird.
that was always interesting, yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. So, who then beyond that?
I played with Mario Rocco
Oh.
in a band Live and Kickin' for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I did have my own band back when I was in school. Didn't really do too much with it other than playing at the house in the garage and maybe a few block parties here and there.
Okay.
But nothing really serious. And
Who was in the band with you? Who was in your band?
well, it was myself. Tony was playing drums for us. I'm trying to remember. Larry played guitar with us. Larry, him and I had been friends since grade school, and we still stay in touch with each other. And his brother. That's about it.
Okay, Tony? Tony who?
Tony Cyan. He's a real estate agent now in Delaware.
I'll be darned.
Yes.
Okay. So
yeah.
let him know he's getting some advertisement
I will.
on your interview here.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And who was in the band with yourself and Mario?
That was constantly changing. That band back in the day was a revolving door, but 2 of the constants were Donnie Cartelli
Oh yeah.
and I guess myself. We had Tom Watson played in the band for a little while.
Okay.
He's playing with Colleen Watson at this point.
Yeah.
Dante Denise, who just unfortunately passed away about 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
He was a bass player, one of the bass players. And, like I said,
Wow.
it was a revolving door. Back in those days, it was really tough to keep a band together.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the reasons and one of the things that led me into doing what I'm doing today.
Mm-hmm. Operating.
Yeah, this started back in like 1998. I had a gentleman that I was working with he was an Elvis impersonator.
Mm-hmm.
And he was Italian. He could barely speak any English.
Oh man.
He spoke with a really heavy Italian accent, but when he sang Elvis, he sounded like Elvis. And he actually won an Elvis competition down in Memphis and ended up getting signed and contracted to play at the shops of Elvis, the
Cool.
Graceland shops. And when he came back from that gig, him and I got together. He lived a few doors down from me. And we were trying to put a band together, and it just wasn't working out. So we decided at that time that we were going to start sequencing the drums because we couldn't get a steady drummer. And then Tim Cleary wouldn't play bass for us, so.
Oh.
So I'm just kidding, Tim.
But
So-
he's doing a good job
but
behind the
he's
camera
doing a good job
today.
behind the
Yes.
camera, yes. But we just had so much, so many different personalities, and everyone was looking to get something different out of it. You had the ego trips and the people that didn't want to show up for practice.
Welcome to the band.
Yeah, exactly, and that's pretty common, I think, with pretty much every band all over. And so what we started doing was we started sequencing in tracks. We spent about a year putting together backing tracks, with drums and bass guitar and some keyboard. And Adriano, the keyboard player, or the singer, actually played keyboard, so that helped. So we spent about a year putting that together, and then we started going out doing shows from that point.
Okay.
We ended up picking up a gig at the Hunter's Den in Marshallton,
Yes.
and We were the house band there for 14 years.
I was going to say, I know you were there for a long time.
14 years.
14
yes.
years
Yes.
is a very long
Yes.
time
Every week.
in band existence.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. It is. But so from that point, Adrian and I parted ways, and I had a couple of other people in the band with me, that I brought in.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Fury was one. Dave and I played together in a church band. We did charity stuff. The band was called Midlife Crisis.
Okay.
Dave was playing bass. We had a gentleman, Glenn Walker, was playing drums. Glenn plays with Montana Wild Axe and a few other bands. Right now he's playing with What the Funk, I think is the name of the band he's in right now. Tony Romano was the keyboard player. He actually owns an electronic business on Basin Road in Newcastle.
Okay.
And Lou Barletta was actually Lou was the one that actually got me into band. Lou and I were instructors at a martial arts studio.
Okay.
I was doing martial arts instruction, and Lou was one of the other instructors there. And he said, "Hey, I'm playing with this church band. I know you play guitar. Maybe you want to come sit in with us." And that's how that got started. And that's where I met Dave. That actually followed Adriano in the two-piece band that I had.
Okay.
And Dave was with me for a while, and he started having some health issues. So
Hasn't been out to play.
he's out playing again.
Good.
He's doing much better, which is a good thing. He's doing better. But at that point, Ken Bolden, I asked
Yes.
Ken to step in. Ken came in, was going to be a temporary thing until Dave got healthier. And Dave was out for such a while that, when he started getting better, he just said, "You know what? I don't want to take this away from Ken. Just let him, do the music with you, and we'll do some other stuff on the side." So for a while, I was doing it with Ken and some stuff with Dave on the side.
Got you.
And then,
Yes, I saw you and Dave once before he got sick.
yeah.
And then saw Ken a lot. And the two of you together were really fun.
Yeah, Ken was a character. He's a character for sure.
He is. He's a fabulous
Yes.
DJ on
He does a great job on the radio.
WHG, I think it's WHG FM. It's Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, Saturday afternoon,
Yeah.
out of Rising Sun, I believe.
Havre Grace.
Or Havre Grace.
Yeah.
Yes. But he's still doing that. And he's also moved on. He's looking into doing a Kenny Rogers tribute show. I know he's just got back from Florida where he was performing down there for the past month.
Nice.
And since I've got Connie singing with me, and that seems to be going very well. We're getting pretty much every venue we've gone to and played at, they end up coming up to us at the end of the night, booking us out for the rest of the year.
Understood.
So it's going really well.
Understood. You guys are stellar. You brought to each other, I've seen you, you brought to each other the best of your skills in presentation. And anybody who gets a chance to see them together, don't miss it. Rick and Connie.
She carries
Sweet
me
stuff.
pretty well.
Yes, absolutely.
Brings out the best.
Brings out the best in you.
Yes.
Well, on the way to these kinds of things, I hear rumors that you have some kids who have voices.
I have a daughter that is an amazing singer, yes. She sang with me for a while.
Hey,
Dave
oh
and
my.
I. She would come in and sing with us. And then she ended up getting her priorities all screwed up and got a job as a nurse and got married and had kids. So
Responsible
Yeah,
stuff.
responsible stuff,
Jeez, making
that's
musicians
up to
look
that.
bad.
I know. I know. But she does have a really good voice. And my son's a killer guitar player.
Okay.
He's played with a band that they've actually had put out a lot of original music, and they had their music published, and they actually had a CD release party at the Queen in Wilmington, and
Okay.
they had 3 different radio stations there recording it,
Nice.
and from that YSP out of Philly was playing his music,
Cool.
and
What's the band name?
the band was at the time was called I'm trying to remember. So it was, I think it was called Torn.
Okay.
And, but of course, same thing, band issues, they ended up,
Oh, sure.
splitting up and.
Sure.
and,
You know,
moving on, so he's not playing with the band right now, but he still plays pretty much every day.
okay. Sometime at their space, you and Connie, be nice to bring either or both of them on.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can
That'd be
twist their
awesome,
arms
yeah.
away from the responsible behavior.
Yeah.
Come
yeah.
on,
These kids today, I tell you.
Absolutely. You guys, you and Connie were the only people I know who worked consistently through the worst of COVID. That says something so amazing to me. It doesn't just say you're good performers. It says you're reliable, you work with everybody, you want to be there, you're on time, you deliver what you say you're going to deliver, you know, and to be able to say that, you know, when everybody else was struggling, you know, I was working. You know, that's phenomenal.
Yeah, you really have to love it to do it, and we both do. And at the same time, you still have to treat it as a business. You know, you have to give your customers what they're looking for. You have to be there when you say you're going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you got to be respectful to them and their patrons.
Yes.
And I think that kills a lot of bands that some of the members just aren't very friendly with the people there or the staff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we treat the staff as if they're our customer too.
Yes.
You know, we take care of them.
Nice. Absolutely. Behind us, there are a couple of other guitars here in Guitarville.
This guitar was a gift. This was a gift from my father.
Okay.
It's Taylor right
You
here.
want to pick it up and talk about it for a minute?
Yeah, my father gave me this guitar. This was, my father went through playing country, playing some rock and roll in the early days and back in the 50s, and then he went back to country music. And then he switched over to bluegrass. I'm not sure why, but he did.
Okay.
And he started playing bluegrass, and I think it was more the gospel music that got him into bluegrass than it was anything else. And this was his main guitar that he played.
Wow.
And when he retired from his job, he went out and treated himself to a brand new guitar. He went to Taylor and ordered a guitar just the way he wanted it. And when he did that, he passed this one down to me.
Wow. This is really beautiful, this work
that's
here.
just an insert to keep the feedback from the electrics on the guitar, but
Okay.
yeah, but this is a pretty special guitar.
Oh, man. How do you decide, you know, which ones you are going to play when you're going to a gig? Do you ever take?
This guitar does not go out on a gig. Ever.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
because it's in pristine condition. You see, there's no mark on the guitar anywhere,
Yes.
and we definitely want to keep it
You want
that
to
way.
keep it that way.
So
Absolutely.
this one never goes out. This one is my parlor
Hello,
guitar.
little fuzzy buddy. Little fuzzy Molly. Very cool.
And this is a
Okay.
guitar that was my first attempt at building a guitar myself.
Okay.
So I'm still working on getting it set up, and but
Beautiful. Beautiful. Oh, I see the initials. What's the W?
Wayne,
Okay. Richard Wayne?
Richard Wayne,
Mm-hmm.
yes,
Okay.
that was actually a little bit of John Wayne. Is where that name came from,
Okay.
but and this is, like I said, this was my first attempt at building a guitar.
So what kind of wood is this? What's the predominant wood here?
I'm not sure. It's an African wood, but I'm not sure
Okay.
the actual name of it.
Okay.
You know, I bought this as a it was already cut out, and then I shaped it here and shaped
Okay.
it on the back to make it a little bit more comfortable to play it.
Mm-hmm.
But the blank was already cut out,
Okay.
and then I just got all these custom pieces and put it together.
Nice. Nice.
So
So once you've completed that, might you take it out on a gig?
I probably would, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, someday.
Yeah. Good talking points
Someday.
to be able to say,
Yes.
now pay attention to this guitar because this is my blood, sweat, and tears in it, and
This
I am
guitar-
in front of.
I will bring this one out here.
Okay.
This guitar is it's an anniversary edition that Fender put out. This is a 1959 Stratocaster, or I'm sorry, 1954 Stratocaster.
Whoa.
And it was made in by hand at Fender, made just the way it was made back in 1954. They hand wound the pickups, every process that they used in 1954 they used to build this guitar.
Cool.
And it was an anniversary issue, and because it was 1954, they only manufactured 1,954 of these.
Fabulous.
And
And you got one.
there's a
Yeah.
pretty emotional story behind this guitar.
Okay.
So,
Take a deep breath. We'd love to hear it.
okay. I had ordered this guitar when I first saw it was coming out because I do the Buddy Holly tribute, and this was a perfect guitar for that. And we found out that my wife had cancer, so I canceled the order. And my wife passed away, and this guitar showed up 2 weeks after she passed away. She had gone back and reordered it.
Oh, how fabulous.
Yeah.
Oh, Rick, that was an amazing gift from her. An amazing gift. That's
Yeah.
pretty fabulous. Yeah.
And
Now-
it showed up like I said, after she passed, and at that point I had no idea she'd ordered it.
Yeah.
So.
That's wonderful.
And these other ones are just ones I have around that are just, my playable guitars, ones I take out, ones
Okay.
I use for shows. That one
Is
no
everything
issues.
Fender?
No. That is a Paul Reed Smith. That is I believe that's the 35th anniversary model. Yeah, it's 35th anniversary Paul Reed Smith guitar. And that's designed in this acoustic that I picked up. I wanted to be able to take an acoustic out to shows once in a while, and I didn't want to take
And
this
those.
one out.
Right.
That one. So I picked that one up.
Okay.
And there's plenty more around here.
Yes.
There's some out. Actually, I have some in my room back that I use on a regular basis for my shows,
Okay.
and there's a few more upstairs. Things.
That said, it's Guitarville here. It really is. Oh my goodness. So, what other instruments do you play? I'm looking at
That's
this.
a ukulele. I tinkered around with that. I actually went probably about 15 years ago or so. I actually was playing the saxophone. And one of my big inspirations was Al Santoro.
Oh, yes.
And he'd helped me along with that a little bit. But just didn't have the wind or the patience
To keep that
keep
going on.
that going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But did you have any formal musical training?
I did a little bit. I went to, of course, had the music theory in school. I went through
Right.
that. I actually when I was in the 8th grade, my teacher was I guess most of my math teacher. It was in Gunny Bever. Her name was Mrs. McDowell. Her husband was a music teacher, and he had talked to me about when I was in music class and was asking about different people, what they played, trying to get different people in the band. And that's why I just played the guitar. I don't want to be in a school band. There were horns and
That was boring.
drums, and I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
I want to play rock and roll. That's
No rockabilly there.
And
Yeah.
but he convinced me to bring my guitar into music class, and I ended up doing a solo for a Christmas show with my guitar with the school band.
Cool. And how
Which-
old were you?
13, maybe 12, 13.
Fabulous. Fabulous. This is what you were going to do, no matter what.
Yes.
No matter what else happened in your life.
Yeah.
This is what you were going to do.
Yeah.
Wow. Who are your inspirations other than Al Santoro?
Probably one of my biggest was Buddy Holly. I mean, I think Buddy Holly was probably, he gets a lot of recognition, but I still think that he's probably the most underrated musician.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause he was so innovative with things he was doing back in the 50s that
Yes.
even Elvis looked at and said, wow, man, we should be doing this or doing that. And he
Without the technological
Without-
aspects.
It's funny. There was a story about how they basically started using reverb and echo in their music where it wasn't available back then.
Okay.
Buddy Holly's family his father had a ceramic tile business.
Okay.
So what they did was they went up into the attic of the recording studio and they tiled the entire floor and the walls of the recording studio.
So it was slick.
And then they put a speaker at one end of it and a microphone at the other end of it, and they broadcast a voice through the speaker back into the microphone, And with all that tile, it basically gave you that I'm singing in the shower kind of sound.
Wow.
And that's how they got their reverb into their music back in the early days.
Cool.
And he also was the first rock and roll artist to ever put an orchestra behind his song.
Which song? Which song?
True Love Ways.
Oh, yes. If
Ways.
I remember right, that's one of your favorites.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
The whole idea that took incredible dedication.
Yes.
You know, so when you're talking about him being way up there in the list of innovators,
Yes.
that's absolutely impressive.
Yeah.
Okay, who else?
Well, Elvis, of course, he was everybody's inspiration, I think. You know, he was out there. Everybody wanted to be Elvis when we were younger. And I think almost everybody is Elvis now. There's so many impersonators out there. They're on every street corner, I think. But, yeah, Elvis Presley. I mean, I did have some country music, you know, in my blood also. And Merle Haggard and
Yeah.
some of the earlier guys like that were pretty inspirational. Yeah, it's Johnny Cash is another one.
Mm-hmm. Well, what he does, is a phenomenal presentation of Johnny Cash and Buddy Holly. And you would swear you were listening to each of them independently. And he doesn't have a cartoonish coverage of them. He doesn't take their attributes and stretch them.
I don't impersonate them. I just do a tribute to them.
Yes. But he's very much right there. If you haven't heard this guy, get off your butt, because he's gone into the Delaware Rock and Roll Society Hall of Fame on October 9th at the Baby Grand in Wilmington. This guy's a treasure. And we're not finished talking, but I just thought I'd throw that in there right now. What do you still want to do?
What do I still want to do? Well, I actually had an opportunity to go to Nashville, and I had some recording time set aside at Playback Records to do a recording there, but they wanted me to do an original song. I really didn't have anything prepared. So I ended up sitting in with 5 Nashville songwriters in a podcast playing guitar, just like a little jam session. And that was awesome.
Cool.
That was really awesome. But I would like to someday get myself up on a big stage with Connie. You know, with a big band like Club Fred behind us, and do a show with a full band.
I think that sounds like something that could happen.
Yeah.
I know a whole lot of people who would be there for that.
Or just do it at the Grand Ole Opry, one or the other.
Okay. Okay, next time Club Fred's there? Yeah.
Yeah,
Or next time you're there, you'll take them along.
There you go.
Oh, that is fabulous. When you are a performer and your focus is Johnny Cash and Buddy Holly, and you can go just sit in with any other band, that makes an incredible statement about your skill. You know, if somebody wanted to play Ricky Nelson, or if somebody wanted to play something in the Lawrence Welk styling, okay, you're still there. You still play.
I actually did a Ricky Nelson song
Oh, geez.
when I was 14 years old, on TV, live on TV, for the first time I'd ever been on TV for a show called Pat's Country, which was Pat Rollins and the Rollins Cable
Oh,
Company
yeah.
here in Delaware.
Oh, yeah.
He had a studio over in Ogletown on Route 4, and I was actually live on TV at 14
Amazing.
doing Ricky Nelson's song.
Just amazing. I'd like to just ask Connie, who's here with us, just to poke her head in. She's not dressed for an interview, but just come give you a hug or whatever, so everybody can see how adorable she is and get ready for the next time they're out looking for some music. Let's come on over and give hope.
Yeah.
And here come the fuzzy guys too. There we go. All right, this is Rick and Connie. It doesn't get any better, folks.
Okay.
All right. As I look around the room, there is an amp that looks like it came from one of my high school dance bands.
That is actually, it's a Fender reissue of a Fender Deluxe.
Of course, it's a Fender.
It's, that amp's probably about, I'm gonna say about 15 years old, but it looks like it's about 40 or 50 years old.
Cool.
It's got the old tweed finish on it, the two-tone tweed.
Do you take it to your shows? Have you ever?
No, I used to, I don't. You know, if I'm doing a Buddy Holly show, I might take it out. But with the technology today, you know, my guitar amp is about this big, and my pedal board that goes right into the PA system.
It's just amazing.
It is amazing. You know, with the technology, it's changed so much. We went from carrying super heavy stacks of speakers to almost nothing. I mean, little 2-inch tweeters and a subwoofer out on the show, and it gives us just as much sound and actually better sound.
Better sound.
You know, the old equipment sounded great. It had that nostalgic kind of sound to it. You had the buzz and you know, some of the distortion and everything, but the newer stuff is just so clean. And you know, it makes you be a better musician because everything comes out of that PA
Everything's
system.
heard.
Yes, everything's heard clear.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Now, I know when you started, you know, it was pretty much country, although, you know, I see bits of rockabilly in there, or what I
Yeah.
would describe as
Yeah.
rockabilly. And today, you're not doing exclusively country.
no, we're doing it. Connie and I are doing a pretty good mix of music. We're doing some stuff from the 50s. We're doing stuff from the 60s. We're doing some country. Do a couple of blues numbers. Sorry, Tim.
That's okay. That's okay.
But we try to have a mix to cover a large crowd. 'Cause a lot of places we go to, you know, we try to play mostly family-friendly places. We're not really into the bar scene. You know, we'll do
Right.
restaurants. You know, we like to do the VFWs and the American Legions, things like that, to try to give back a little bit to the veterans, and they're just a fun crowd to play for.
Nice. So give me an example of what, you know, songs from the 60s, songs from the, you know, the 70s.
We do, of course, Buddy Holly. You know, do a good mix of Buddy Holly, Dream Lover, some Elvis. Connie does Patsy Cline. She does Connie Francis, the Ronettes, and it's just so many different ones. It's hard to get them all out there. But with that, we do some country. We do some classic country. We do some modern country. And like I said, a little bit of blues. And we haven't been singing together for a long time. We're working on getting a lot more of the duets, you know, that we're trying to put into our show. But it takes time because she's got to teach me how to sing some of these songs. So, but, yeah, but we try to mix up pretty good.
Gotcha.
And we are, right now, we are booked just about every weekend through the end of December.
That says it all, doesn't it? It truly does. Well, you've seen how it was in the past. You've seen several eras here, and you're talking about music that you've compiled from all of those eras. What are your thoughts about what's happening in music today?
Well, I think, well, for one thing, right now it seems like this area is flooded with musicians out there playing. Some are very good, some not so good. I really don't like to put down any other musicians, but there are some people out there that are playing, I mean, more just to get out there and play for the money, I believe. And they're killing the industry. They don't realize it, but they're killing the industry because they're going in and they're playing for a low amount of money, and it makes it tough for the established musicians to earn the pay that they deserve. A lot of places right now are still paying the same amount of money they were 20 years ago. And, you know, talk about getting raises, that's not something that happens in the music industry. If you're playing in a local club, that local club is going to pay you what they paid you 10 years ago. And sometimes less. COVID brought out a lot where a lot of these restaurants, and we actually adjusted our pay scale down to accommodate them because a lot of them got hit so hard because of COVID
Yes.
that they really couldn't afford to play for entertainment. So there was a time during COVID, we played all the way through COVID, which was pretty unusual. A lot of people didn't. But what we did was we would play outside in the parking lot of a club rather than inside, and we would play for tips. We kept the patrons coming in, we kept the club happy, but we adjusted down to fit the times, you know, in the situation. But I think after COVID, a lot of these clubs are now still paying that low amount that they just don't want to come up and pay, you know, what the musicians are worth. And there's a lot that goes into it. Your equipment is crazy expensive today. I mean, each one of these guitars, I mean, this guitar back here, one of these guitars is sold at auction for $10,000. They're not cheap. The equipment's not cheap. The technology is great, but you're paying for it.
If you were going to go and buy a starter guitar, not something, you know, where somebody's just plucking, but getting started, ballpark, what would you expect to pay?
I would say if you want a guitar that you can, a beginner can pick up and learn how to play, you're looking at $300 to $500. You can buy them for $100, but that's the guitar that you're going to pick up and play. Say, I hate that. This just doesn't. It hurts my fingers. It's just not a comfortable guitar to play because they're so inexpensive. And you see a lot of people that buy those guitars, pick them up, play for a couple of weeks, and put it away and never play it again.
Right.
If you want to learn how to play the guitar, make sure you're playing on a decent quality guitar to start with.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
So expect to pay $500.
Yeah, cheap guitars is one of the biggest turnoffs for learning how to play the guitar. It really is.
Aha, because it's not going to sound.
It's not going to sound good. It's not going to feel good. It's going to hurt your fingers. It's going to be hard for you to make your chord patterns with. And it's just not a good way to start.
Good
if
advice.
you're really interested in it, spend the money.
Okay. Have you thought about teaching?
No, I have taught a few people here and there along the lines, but I'm not a teacher. I'm just, because most of my playing I picked up by watching other people. You know, I had a little bit of training. I did go, and I don't know if anybody out there remembers this. Tim might, because he's old like me. Mary Salter's Music in Newcastle.
Not before my time.
Mary Salter she had a music store in Newcastle, and she was also a guitar teacher.
Okay.
And I took some lessons from her. Nick Bucci, took lessons from him for a while when he was at Mid-Atlantic Music in Nelsonmere. And Tommy Alderson was also there. Tommy's a monster guitar player.
Mm-hmm.
And but that was pretty much it. Everything else I learned by listening. You know, when I started playing Buddy Holly records, trying to pick up how Buddy Holly was playing, which is, Buddy Holly had a very strange style of playing that a lot of people don't realize was, when he's strumming the guitar, he never strummed upstrokes. Everything was down, so he's moving his hand twice as fast.
Oh my goodness.
And I tried to play what he was playing and play it in a normal way. It was pretty difficult. But I would take the 45 record of his song, like That'll Be the Day, put it in the record player. Those of you who remember 45s.
Yes.
And I would turn it on and I would play it, and I would put my finger on it and stop it and drag it so it plays real slow so I could hear every note that he's playing in the song. And that's how I picked up a lot of his stuff.
Oh man.
You know,
Oh man. Blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah.
Yeah. To figure it out. That's
Yes.
that jingling is another one of the puppies who are jumping around here enjoying
Yeah, he
the
gallops.
attention. Yes, he does
He
gallop.
gallops.
So what kind of advice would you have for?
I always say the biggest thing is if you're putting a band together or a duo or even you're doing solo and you want to go out and play, make sure you're ready before you go out. Don't go out if you don't have the song, you know, the songs that you need, you know, enough songs. You don't have them down, you know, tight enough to where they sound good. You know, you want to be able to listen to yourself and want to play. If you record yourself, here's a good example. You know, someone told me this, and I think it was my father. He had a lot of advice. He said, if when in doubt, leave it out. If there's a note or something that you're playing and you're not sure whether it's going to go or not, don't play it. Sounds much better not playing it than playing the wrong note. But the other thing too is record yourself. And if you take that recording, you keep playing it back and listening to yourself over and over again, and you like what you're hearing, then you're ready to go out and play. If you play that song and you listen back to it and say, I need to fix this, I need to fix that, then work on it a little bit until it gets to the point where you're comfortable with it and you're satisfied with it.
You're polished.
And you're polished, yeah. Yeah, and don't forget, playing the music is only a small part of the industry. You got to be a businessman. You've got to get out there and pound the streets, and you're gonna have doors slammed in your face. And because there's so much competition out there today, you take a CD or a flash drive and hand it to a manager of a club to get played. 99% of the time, he's not even going to listen to it. It's persistence. You have to keep banging on that door until when you walk in there, he knows your name.
Yes.
And that's how you're going to get busy. You're going to get to work. And just keep bugging them until you're so tired of hearing you, they just put you on a schedule just to shut you up, pretty much. Because it's not easy. It's not easy getting work out there today. And there's a lot of it to be had, but there's also a lot of people out there going after it.
Yeah, vying for it.
And just, remember, you have to be as good, or if not better than what's playing out there already, to be successful at it.
Attitude is everything.
Attitude. Take care, treat these people, like they're your boss, because they are. We used to have a saying, was you have all your customers. Your customer is the person that's paying you. You have your internal customers, which I call are the staff, the people that work at the restaurant. They're your internal customers. They're still your customer. You have to treat them with that same respect that you would a customer. And then there's the patrons that if they weren't there, you wouldn't have a job, period. So take the time to talk to them. If they want to talk to you, listen to them, talk to them. If they throw some music at you, a song or something at you, and they want you to play it, if it's possible and if it's something that would fit, play it. If it's not, let them know in a polite way, hey, that's just not something that's going to work for us. But if there's something else you want to hear, let us know. But
make the connections.
Make the connection with the people, yeah. And Connie's very good at bringing the people into the show, making them part of the show. There's a couple of songs that she does where she'll get a bunch of ladies up and get them singing back up with her when she's singing and get them involved. And those women are at every one of our shows.
Yes.
They come out to every one of them.
Yes.
So, you have to make that connection. You have to
build that loyalty.
Treat every person there like they're the ones that are paying you, because they are.
Yes, they are.
And respect for other musicians and other bands. You hear of some of these people that go out there and they're going to cutthroat you or me or Tim to get a gig. And I don't work that way. I'm like, I'd rather, bring people in and say, hey, there's plenty of work for us. Make friends with and go out and see other bands playing when you're not playing. And get to know these people, because those people are going through the same thing you're going through. And if they get a call for a job that they can't do, hey, why don't you give Rick a call? He might be available, or
there you go.
Something like that. And it's a network, and you have to treat it as that. And you have to be respectful to all the other musicians and treat them the same as you would want them to treat you.
In this, we'll say post-COVID, but it really isn't post-COVID time. That's really important.
It is really
important information.
Yeah.
Important advice.
Mm-hmm. Music is a cutthroat business from start to finish. It really is. And you got to love it to stick with it. But the rewards are way beyond.
Have you written a song?
I have written. I've actually co-written a couple of songs with Dave.
Okay.
But nothing that I have published.
Okay.
I think so.
Are they songs that you might try out
Um,
on a stage?
One of them is pretty personal. Probably not.
Okay.
I did it one time at the Grand Opera House on stage, and that was pretty much about the only time I've ever performed that song.
Okay. Okay.
So.
I know that for many, many years you opened every one of Lois Lipton Parker's shows.
Mm-hmm.
She did the rock and roll shows, the national rock and roll shows that all happened here in Delaware, predominantly at the Grand Opera
We
House.
opened up shows for Bobby Rydell, Bobby Vinton, Danny and the Juniors, Charlie Gracie, Dickie Dale.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And quite a few. Sherry Austin Reeves?
Yes.
Opened up for her.
Mm-hmm.
And, quite a few of the old rockabilly, rock and roll stars back in the day.
Yes. And not to forget the Times.
The Times, Caesar and the Times, yes.
Yes.
We did a New Year's Eve show with them at the Candlelight Theater, and also with Jersey 4, which was the Frankie Valli tribute band
Yeah.
that actually played. From what I understand, they were actually part of the movie,
Yes.
the Jersey 4.
Yeah, Jersey Boys.
Jersey Boys,
Yeah, they're
yeah.
Jersey Boys,
Yeah.
more Jersey Boys.
Yeah,
Yeah, making that harmony.
yeah,
Very
Yeah.
cool.
awesome. It's a lot of fun.
So you see, his behaviors and his presentation and his music have made a difference so that he has associations with so many, many, many people. Spreading the happy, keeping the music going.
And thank you
Oh, thank
for all you
you.
and George do for the
Oh,
music in Delaware.
You're welcome. We're having a ball. We get to hang out with
Yeah.
people like you.
Well, thank you.
So,
It's an honor to hang out with people like you and George.
okay,
Sure.
super. All right. What do you think? That's filled it in?
That's a wrap.
I don't know where that half an hour went so
It's
fast.
like 50 minutes.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. Okay, yes, you can close it. Unless you wanted to make